So one roadmap would be to ground it in a micro moment every single time that he does the turnaround. Capture it in your memory or in a book in neutral observations. Okay, so I said, I'm in pain. He said, hush, you shouldn't be eating eggs, whatever it is. So I would make sure that I'm capturing it in my memory in the most observable, behavioral, actionable ways possible and not adding my own diagnosis to that. So that's one step, is getting good at that. Then what I would do is I would begin, our pattern sometimes is that we want to talk about patterns, we want to talk about dynamics. And if that goes well with the other person, by all means do that if they're receptive to it. But often what we need to do is ground it in a specific moment. Like, remember the other day when I told you that I was in pain and you said, hush, do you remember that moment? So you ground it in the moment. And then what you begin with, because the goal here, the need you're trying to meet, is shared awareness. So what you want to do is have a conversation that raises awareness in a way that doesn't feel judgmental or like a gotcha. So then it would be, do you remember that moment when you said that? And then you empathize with him first in this way. I wonder in that moment if you were trying to be helpful and comforting. Is that what you were wanting in that moment? Or was something else going on for you? Right? And you could also, like there's lots of ways, the person in the relational context, so you can calibrate it in language and approach that really works for the two of you. But it's also some version of like, when you say that, I notice you do this, when you say hush, what's happening for you when you say that? How do you want me to interpret that? What does that mean to you? And then let him put some words to it. And then depending on what he tells me, I might float out a few theories. I might want to check a few things out. Is it annoying to you when I talk about my feelings? When I tell you that I'm in pain, or when I tell you that I need something or that I want comfort, what is happening in you? What's it like for you when I do that? Is there tension coming up in your system? Because what I really want to do in that early stage is help him connect to himself more. Likely, he's playing out default patterns that he has seen and heard and experienced himself without really ever becoming aware of them or thinking about them. And likely in the early stages, he may just think that that's who and how he is, and that's just what you do, and that's the helpful thing. And he hasn't really ever thought about it or examined it. And if we want to invite somebody to begin thinking about or examining a pattern that they have inherited, that they may be identified with, and that they may see as normal, we want that to be, as much as possible, not coming from a place of implicitly, this is a bad thing you've inherited, and this is a bad thing that you do, and you're carrying it forward. And I can't believe that you're still doing this unconscious and bad default thing that you learned how to do. You should change it. And I can't believe you haven't yet. Right? So we don't want that energy in the early stages. We want the waking up of other people to feel pleasurable to them so that they do more of it. And when it is laced with rejection and criticism and judgment, it does not become a pleasant experience, and they double down. And that's where we often hear, well, that's just who I am. And I need you to just accept me for who I am. And I need you to understand what I mean, quote unquote, in parentheses, without me having to change how I approach you. So sometimes in those early stages, if you know that your need is for shared awareness and what you're trying to get is some buy-in into a new process, we begin by helping the other person lead the way in getting more aware of what's happening for them. And what we're looking for ideally is for them to say, oh, wait a minute, this thing I'm doing isn't actually meeting my needs for XYZ, because that's where the motivation for change is going to come from. When they realize that the thing that they are doing is not in alignment with their own sense of integrity. Where we get into trouble is where they feel like they have to behave like good people to make us happy. That's not sustainable. I'm going to have to do a lot of inner work internally before I can respond to that. And my inner work will be, I need to not hear the blame in that. And I need to not be hooked by him trying to make me responsible for my pain. So I'm just going to put that aside because that's not really what we're talking about. But I want to acknowledge that that will be a piece of the inner work there. Yeah. Now let's assume that that inner work is natural and easy for you. Then I'm going to say something like, Yeah, thank you. So it's like you really want me to take responsibility for the things that I can do to help myself. And there's a part of you that is wanting to really empower me to see the choices that I have for my own well being. Is that right? It sounds like it's really frustrating for you. Like you see all of these things that I could be doing and all of these things that would lead me to feel better. And then it's frustrating when